What's up, everybody? It's your girl Q1, and I am back with Zatima Season 4, Episode 5, Lose to Win. Y'all, before I start, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell button so you can be updated on every video I drop. And make sure y'all like the videos so I can stay in the algorithm. Alright? So, we start episode 5 with Zach, and he's in the kitchen making breakfast in bed for Fatima, so she, don't have to get up, go downstairs, and make breakfast. As he brings her the breakfast, he wakes her up. She wakes up extremely moody, and of course she's hormonal, but her moodiness, her hormonal changes started to happen more in episode 2, and low key, it is kind of getting on my nerves, but I get it. And just think about this. If you want to be pregnant, if you ever think about being pregnant again, Fatima, listen. You too hormonal for me. Like, I don't know. Anyway, Zach and Fatima get ready to head to court. And when they walked into the courthouse, it was the way Miss Patricia was looking at them as if they'd done something to her. You're the one that's taking Michael, but you're looking at them with this look of disdain as if they'd done something to you. Like, the nerve. And so, when I looked at her, I'm thinking, did you have any of this extra energy for your niece, who actually was beating your kid, who probably let other men beat on him, who done so much in front of him? I wouldn't be surprised if somebody done something to him, which is why, he's nonverbal. Like, probably part of the reason. I don't know if he's just an autistic kid or if something happened. Like, I don't know. Maybe I missed something, but yeah. So the judge tells Fatima, I felt like when the judge was talking to Fatima, I felt like he was being condescending in that moment, because he was telling her, stand by your man. But I advise you, but don't advise him of any legal advice because you're just a paralegal. Oh, and congrats on your engagement and the baby, I suppose. And I was just like, that was odd, rude. Okay. So Patricia's still sitting on the other side staring at them, and they're looking like, what the hell is our problem? Like, what is wrong with you? So Heather has been deemed unfit by the court, and we all know that Heather was trifling, right? So they run down everything that has happened in Zach's past. They also, including that fight he had with Jeremiah on camera. And this was where we realized Zach's, his attitude, his terrible attitude. This is what leads to you having a terrible attitude and not having control over your emotions. So now people are seeing these things on camera, and now they're using this, trying to use this against you in order so they can take your son. So yeah. So Zach is trying to explain to the judge. The judge is shutting him down. And so they bring up the shooting that happened at the repass. And I guess for me, how did they know that? Like, how does one know that? But, they had to file a police report as well. So the attorney pulled up all type of stuff on them. Zach takes this moment. He kept it fully a buck with the judge. He spoke from his heart when it came to him, his past, who he is today, and him as a dad. All right. So then Patricia wanted to speak. So she takes this moment to take up for Heather and says that she's nothing like Heather. Zach, after the judge made his decision, he lets Zach know that you can gain full custody, but you have to take anger management classes, I want to say, for the next 3 months or 3 or 6 months. And that I'm sorry, y'all, that he has to take the anger management classes and work, and the court will work with him, on getting Michael back. And he has to also ensure that him and Fatima has a nice, stable environment for Michael. All right. So for now, Michael is still going to be in the full-time care of Patricia money hungry ass. And but Zach has to pay. Well, there was a order for Zach to pay $1,000, but she's asking for more money. And so according to Zach's income, he's going to have to start paying $3,500 a month with supervised visitations for the next 6 months. And so in that moment, when that happened, she started to celebrate. She was real celebratory of the money, which further lets me know that this is a money grab. And then she had the audacity to ask, well, if they get married, can Fatima's income be added as well? Fatima was like, hell no. But for me, when it comes to Patricia, I ask one more time. You say that, I say this. You say that you are not Heather. You're not like Heather. No, you're not like Heather. You're older. So Heather gets the shit from you. You trifling and she's trifling. And Fatima asked the judge if Zach, since Zach is the non-custodial parent, then my income should not be a factor in this case, right? So the judge was agreed and was like, it should not be a factor. So when the judge said that, Patricia raggedy ass sat there and she sighed and rolled her eyes. And I'm just like, what is wrong? The judge tells Fatima, once her baby is born, the court can amend the child support in her favor. Patricia was like, I don't see why, because they make plenty of money. Again, money grab. Second, why are you in these people's pockets? Third, do you not have a job? Do you not have your own income? Like, why do you even have Michael? I feel like she don't even want Michael. I feel like the stuff she was telling Zach is really what she was doing when she was like, you really don't want Michael. You just don't want to pay for him. Well, in this case, you don't really want Michael. You want the financial backings that come with taking care of Michael. Anyway, Zach tells her, don't worry, you won't have Michael too much longer. Patricia tells him, you never tried to get Michael. He never tried to get Michael because Heather never told him about Michael. But she knows that. She knows that. She's just on bullshit right now. But she knows that, right? So Zach tells her, Heather kept Michael from me ever since, since he was born. Like, he did not know about Michael until Michael was like 4, 5. I don't know. We really just recently heard about Michael. All right. So Patricia says to Zach, you don't want full custody. You just don't want to pay for him. And she was like, just like Heather said. And I was like, no, ho, is you okay? Because you looking for a quick come up. Like, this lady has the audacity. Like, y'all. Let me tell y'all, it irritated me so much so. And for me, I feel like Heather is one of the people that is not supposed to be trusted. She's not a person to be trusted. And I feel like this auntie is somebody that's not to be trusted as well. I don't know if Michael is in a safe place. I don't know if that environment is safe for him. So Zach tells the judge, you see, this is a money grab. So So the judge was like, listen, we'll revisit this matter in 6 months. Zach was pissed. So then Fatima was like, can I speak? Fatima requests a paternity test. Just because Zach isn't on the birth certificate and the test was a home kit. And he's not legally obligated to Michael. And so the judge asks Zach if he questions Michael's paternity. Zach looked at Fatima. Fatima was like, you trust me? Y'all know how that go. And he was like, I do question it. So because Zach questioned it, he now has to come back to court in 4 weeks for the paternity test. And they will extend the current custody agreement, which is $1,000 a month. And because due to delay a child support amendment until after the results are in. Like, you can't do nothing until after this paternity test is in. Patricia at this point is pissed off. And she leaves the courtroom. There are words, said between Fatima and Patricia, and even Zach and Patricia. And then, we leave the courtroom. So in the next scene, Fatima is back at work. One of her coworkers come in and talk with her about representing an R&B client by the name of Sage, because she's going on medical leave for a couple of months. Fatima gonna be handling contracts. The same thing she do with the ball players. She'll be doing it with the artists. And so Fatima was like, I didn't know we represent artists around here. And so the lady was like, oh, we keep it really low key. Now, I didn't catch the lady name because I don't even think they even said her name. And so I'm looking at Fatima, and they came up with a solution. So while the lady's there, she'll train Fatima on the job. And by the time the lady's gonna take her leave, and by the time Fatima get ready to go on her maternity leave, then her coworker should be back, And then once Fatima returned back, she told Fatima, I may have a job for you working with me. So Fatima was happy. She was like, oh my God, this sounds good. Yada, yada, yada. And all of the things. So I'm thinking, okay, but at the same time, she was still hesitant when the lady asked her. Like, she was hesitant. So the attorney goes into the meeting room, and she brings Fatima with her to meet Sage in person, right? So we find out that Sage is suing her father slash manager, and we've also found out that Sage is under conservatorship. Her father has her under conservatorship until she's 30. And Sage tells Fatima that he has always had an input on her life, on her entire life, like all of her life. She's never been able to make a decision that she wanted to make because he made all the decisions. She doesn't want her father slash manager to be a part of this new album. She wants to do this album on her own without the help of him, without anything. But she do acknowledge that if it wasn't for her dad, she wouldn't be Sage. So Fatima was like, you'll still be Sage. Like, you're the one with the voice. And Fatima assures her that, you're a great person and all of those things. And I'm looking at Fatima like, you don't even know her like that. You don't know why this daddy got her under conservatorship. You don't know, and I get it. She's just trying to do her job as it relates to contracts. Me personally, I feel like Sage is going to be a problem. And I feel like Fatima picking up the workload, everything else that's happening around her is bringing her the stress that the doctor asked her not to be under, unless she wants to be on bed rest. She's not taking into consideration the fact that she's pregnant and that she had she was having issues because y'all know when she slipped and fell, she had to go to the hospital. I forgot what her doctor told her, but basically, she doesn't need to be under a lot of stress and pressure. And instead of her saying no, she took the job. Again, this is not you thinking what's in the best interest of you. This is Fatima trying to be Superwoman. You're pregnant. Like, just sometimes, especially on this show, y'all, sometimes Fatima annoys me. I love Fatima, but sometimes, let's just keep it a buck, she can be a bit annoying when it's time to make certain decisions. Like, we gotta call a thing a thing, Anyway, Zach calls Fatima on the phone, and she shares the good news about Sage. And I love the fact that he was so supportive of her and didn't say, "Oh, you're pregnant, you shouldn't be doing that." He didn't do any of that. He was excited for her, and that's what I love. That's the Zach and Fatima I love. The two that bounce off each other. Those where they can just laugh and talk and be good to one another. Like, when I tell y'all, I feel like I haven't seen that in so long. Like, all the stuff and all the people and life and all of these circumstances and situations just kind of got in the way of who they were to the core, if that makes sense, y'all. I just miss the Zatima, the real Zatima of it all. Okay? So Zach is back at he's at the office. Him and Preston decide to go out to happy hour. Bryce walked up on them, always thirsty AF, and he invites himself. And they don't shun Bryce. They don't shut him down. Because if Bryce wasn't gonna go to happy hour, he was gonna be over at Angela's house being her lackey and do boy. Like, stop. I really just need Bryce to get some self-esteem. Instead of trying to be ballsy, I need him to get some self-esteem about himself and get some love about himself. And get some therapy so he can, whatever it is his dad didn't give him, didn't validate him. Because, I think we had that moment where his dad was really hard on him. We know that. Needs to get some therapy and figure out what's happening. All right? So, in the next scene, Tony, y'all know Tony went to this woman's house again, put money, envelope full of money on the front of her door. This time she saw him, but she only saw the back of Tony. So she walked out the door and she was like, "Hey, who are you?" And he ran, he hurried up and ran around the building so fast. And this is where the episode ended. Like, I'm telling y'all, it was really good. I will say this. What I got out of this episode was hurt people with the whole situation, the whole court situation with Patricia taking Zach them to court, because you don't know anything about Zach. And I would have thought, if you have my great nephew, that I would really get to know y'all, communicate, all of the things. And then the other thing that I realized is how people have this way of using kids as a money grab. And I feel like child support should have been about Michael's needs and not leverage. And I feel like that's what that's what Patricia was doing. Because as stated, before, money, when you so focused on money, the child loses. And in this case, we don't know if Michael is losing, but it's something about her. It's something about her that is not to be trusted. Like, at all. The way she was so happy when she thought she was getting $3,500 a month, which you don't really need that much to take care of Michael. Like, what is it that you're doing? And then you're so headstrong on him not wanting to go live with Zach, because that is another another way of another stream of income for you. Just like a lot of people, and this is no shade, but there are people who do the not adopt, like foster parenting, and they do it a lot of times. People do it for a money grab. They do it for a money grab. And so that's why they end up treating kids poorly, because the one thing they're getting out of it is the money. And 9 times out of 10, they're not using that money to take care of the kids. They're using it for their own personal needs. So I'm hoping that with this paternity test, I hope and I pray, because I promise y'all, I don't want Michael not to be Zach's. I actually want Michael to be Zach's kid. You know, and as the episode stated, sometimes you have to lose to win. So when we find out that the kid is for Zach, yeah, you're gonna lose about what 10, 3, 6, 9, a couple months, but you're gonna get Michael back upon your completion of anger management. You have to learn how to control your anger. That's his biggest problem. It's his anger. And then the other thing, y'all, I learned from this episode is taking too much responsibility on. Instead of saying no, instead of setting your boundaries, you put everybody else's needs ahead of your own when it comes to the outside world. And I'm talking about Fatima. You're pregnant, but you're taking on this role at work that is probably going to require a lot from you, because the lady did say it's demanding and it's sometimes around the clock. And I just kind of feel like, why would you recommend Fatima? She's big. I wouldn't have never, but I get it. She wants Fatima to win. But Fatima, you have to I feel like Fatima totally dismissed the things that her doctor was saying. But Zach stood behind her and supported her, and I was here for it. That's all. The lady told her that, hey, I'll be here. I'll answer your calls, yada, yada, yada. And I'm hoping. But when she finds out Leslie is somewhere on the loose stalking her, what else is happening? This whole case situation, all of the things that are going on, it's going to take a toll on her. And I just hope that she's able to keep the baby, just like I hope and pray that Michael is for Zach, and that he doesn't have to go back to Heather and her family. All right, y'all, it was a pretty good episode. It wasn't much, but both of those scenes were really good, and I was able to pull something out of each scene. Like, it was really good. I was like, wow. I'm rambling, but it was good. All right, so I'm sorry, y'all. I will catch y'all in the next video, and if you have not, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on your way out. All right.